How old is this cat?
He's about to be 15.
Wow.
And I'm praying that he's gonna live to be 22. It's possible, cats.
But he gotta eat it. He got to eat the diet. He can't have his whatever you had with him before that was apparently delicious to his palate.
Right. Right. So, like I said, if you eat that little cat, then he's been eating that food.
Well, that's good.
Every meal.
Well, guess what?
Like it's the best thing he ever tasted.
You'll never. I know I'm not the only one, but I ended up in the ER myself.
Oh goodness.
Unlike your cat, it's been hot, not just a little, but very hot.
It's been extremely hot.
And last week and let me say this first, I don't ordinarily have high blood pressure, but last week, I think that was last week, I bought some Manda sausage that was on sale. And I just ate and ate and ate. I had it for breakfast. I had it for lunch. Made my sandwich for lunch. I had it a little piece before dinner. And I had pulled pork. I just had pork. And my blood pressure was out of this world. Or at least I thought so. It was higher than my blood pressure ever gets. And, which was not good. And, so I know that there are other people that have that same kind of situation. Did you realize that?
High blood pressure is a serious issue.
And they call it the silent killer.
It is the number one killer of people in heart attack.
Well, I was very surprised that they, gave me an EKG, and then checked all kind of stuff with me.
That is standard issue now.
Oh, really?
If you go into the emergency room and your blood pressure is elevated, or you're having some sort of chest pain.
I have it.
I said or.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It's standard issue for them to give you an EKG to make sure that you're not having a heart attack, because not all
You'll have a heart attack when you get this bill, I'm sure.
Well, if you're having a heart attack and they don't give you an EKG, you won't make it to get the bill.
Oh, I hear you. Point well taken.
So, but a lot of, and that's the thing that a lot of times, and this is something that you all can keep for your own health tidbit. All heart attacks are not created equal. Neither are all strokes, and I've heard neither are all deliveries. You can't. There's no one prescription that this is exactly how it's going.
They're all different.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a general standard for the symptoms, but they don't all present exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And
they say especially for women.
Yeah. And so they need to make sure that you're not out in the lobby having a heart attack and they're unaware of it. So their main concern immediately is to make sure that you're not in danger.
Well, I also had X-rays. I don't know what that was about. Oh, that's right. You used to work in the ER. I forget. That's right. You got all this information just bottled up inside of you.
A lot of people joke with me that I went from working in the ER to the cemetery.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Oh, let's not even go there.
Well,
But back to my story.
Mm-hmm.
My story.
Right.
I did spend several hours there. They were surprised at what health I'm in, that I'm in pretty good health for an old chick.
Right.
You
You're always calling yourself old, but in reality, you're not all that old.
Okay.
Number one, and number two, middle-aged now is
He's
not.
90.
No, I mean it's
91.
it's
I'm
not
middle aged.
what it was when I was a kid. You know, when I was a kid, middle age was 30,
Yeah.
and now they say 30 is the new 20,
Mm.
which means middle age is like mid 40,
Mm-hmm.
early 50.
And old as 80.
Yeah,
9.
yeah. You're officially old when you're 80, because people are not retiring anymore at 65.
They
You know.
can't afford to.
Well, the point is that you're based on the now present social standard.
I'm a young chick.
Yeah, you're not as well. You're not young, but you're not old.
You could have let that slide
Oh,
right on through.
You're not as old as you make yourself.
Well,
out.
let me say, the ER people were like, really? Because I don't have sugar diabetes and I don't have this. Anyway, they didn't even give me no medicine.
Right.
They were like, go on home, take your blood pressure the same time each day, drink plenty of liquids, eat what did they say? Not a low fat, eat a low fat diet,
Right.
and see your primary physician.
Right.
I think that's it in a row. So,
Do you know the immediate thing that
Huh.
I'm sure you do that you should do if you believe you're having a heart attack?
take an aspirin.
There you have it.
But you know,
Not the
aspirin.
baby one. If you
Right. Take a real one.
Take a real ass two.
2. All
And
right.
call the ambulance, or get the car and get to the. Not you drive yourself.
Oh, I was gonna say you driving yourself to the hospital on the.
No, not if you think
On the
that
strength of
you
2
are
aspirins.
having a heart attack. No.
To run out there and run over somebody
Yeah,
with the
no.
big one.
Right. If you think that you are having a heart attack, take your aspirin and you call the ambulance. Unless there's somebody in the house with you
Mm.
that can rush you to the nearest emergency room. Don't be picky about where you're going if
Yeah.
you're having a heart attack.
That's true. And don't worry about the bill.
Not at all.
That's one of the things. I know y'all, because I know that's what I was thinking. I was, at the desk like, oh goodness, how much? So don't worry about the bill then. You can live and worry about it later. You're listening to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony. We're just talking about a little high blood pressure and my experience with the local hospital. I already miss Earl K. Long. That would have been the closest to me.
Yeah, I'm really displeased with that. And then, in other related news, they got rid of the LA Swift.
Yes. I signed the petition to keep the LA Swift. But it wasn't that many people that signed on the petition.
Where was the petition?
Change.org.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking. There may have been more than one, because the deadline for closing down the LA Swift, they had 2 different deadlines. So don't get me on my soapbox, but since I'm near it, I'm just gonna step up on it and say.
Now you're gonna say, "Don't get me up there," and then turn right around and say, "I'm gonna step up there myself."
And say these words.
Okay.
If you want it, you need to open up your mouth. Sister Stephanie and a few of her friends alone can't keep it for you. You can't sit there talking to your neighbor and your church member and not talk to anybody that has the ability to make a difference. If everybody had that ride LA Swift had stood, look, they didn't even have to go to the Capitol. Just stand out in front of, what is it called? Caps. I mess up everybody's name. When my kids were little, I just call out names. And they'd be like, that's not my name. So you know who I'm talking to.
You know what? That might be a parent thing when you have more than 2 children. Really, if you got more than 1.
You can call them anybody's name. Call them by your sister's name. Your cousin. Anybody's name that come to you. Anyway, cats. just stand outside of Cats. We want L.A. Swift. We got to have it. The press would have come out because it's right down on Florida. They didn't have to go that far. They would have come out and, but I am tired. I know y'all say that you said that I'm not an old chick. I'm not a young chick. But I have protested, marched, petitioned, nailed up signs, called people to go to meetings on so many issues, and I am at the point in life that I am tired of trying to drag people to see about their own business. Now, it's a lot. I have written L.A. Swift. I know that there are people that will really, really be impacted in a negative way because they do not have that transportation.
Oh, definitely.
And it was way more than signing the petition. So, and this, now, lost, look, I'm going to just be ugly. Lost Earl K. Long. Lost Big Cherry. Lost L.A. Swift. What else? Just, you name it. Schools closing left and right. And nobody not paying attention. And that's what the power brokers are betting. That the poor people not listening. They not talking to the people that they need to talk to. They don't care. And they are going to rob and plunder and then destroy anything that's set in place that's for your benefit. Because you don't care enough to see about yourself. And that's the basic stuff in it. It's like nobody is going to wash your face and brush your teeth for you. And you can do it for yourself.
That's more like providing a brush for the face.
Huh? Say that again.
I said it's more like providing a brush for the face because you got to go to the bus stop and use your money to get on the bus. But if ain't no brush and no face.
Well, I tell you what. Your money was $5 going and $5 coming back. How much you think Greyhound gonna charge?
It is $20 one way.
Guess what? You know who the main people were that didn't like L.A. Swift?
Greyhound.
Oh yeah. They were like, and they went for it for a while after Katrina because their lobbies were so packed. And they had put as many, vehicles on the street as was economically viable, feasible, for them. And so they hushed a while. But my, oh my, oh my. Do you remember where they had the bus stop for L.A. Swift?
Yeah, they have one at the Cats, and then they have another one that's like literally diagonally across the street from Greyhound.
Right, because Greyhound say you ain't using our terminals. Y'all our competition. You done undercut us. They call governmental interference in the what do they call that? In the economic process. In the commerce.
Well,
free commerce, free economy, free somebody else.
I mean, it could be, it could be easily put that without governmental interference in that particular instance, there would have been no economic growth. People would not have had a way to have gotten to work in New Orleans.
Oh, they wasn't thinking about that. They thinking about their piece of the pie, not the big picture. And I read some of the comments, from people that live elsewhere, which were a lot of the people that signed the petition, because it was online. Anyway, they were like, well, can't they make a train? And I chimed in. There has not been a train from Baton Rouge to New Orleans in decades. Decades. If you can't keep up a bus,
That is very accurate.
who you think gonna lay track or allow? Look, the track that's down there don't belong to the government.
There's Amtrak, isn't it?
It's everybody's. I think They did so much coming together, Kansas City and this and that. And that's how we ended up with the standard with tracks.
Oh, okay.
Because way back in the Western days, railroads had different size tracks to fit their trains. It wasn't a standard.
Okay.
But slowly but surely,
Like different size wheels for each color.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you know that highways are subsidized?
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware. It's our tax dollars going to build new roads and fix roads and so forth and so on. I was actually during Vacation Bible School discussing that with my children because we were having a discussion about what's his face whose name I can't remember right now.
Is it in the Bible?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Zacchaeus, the tax collector, and I was explaining to them.
I didn't realize Zacchaeus collected taxes. I knew Matthew did.
Zacchaeus, the short one.
The short guy.
Itsy bitsy one.
Itsy bitsy.
That everyone disliked him because he was a tax collector.
Ah, okay.
And I was explaining.
No, what wasn't because he was short.
No. I was explaining the concept to the children that there are still tax collectors, but that the process has changed and you can't readily identify now who's a tax collector versus who isn't. They work for the IRS, and now you can decide whether or not you want to pay your taxes at the end of the year, mail the government a check, or whether or not you want to have the government to take the money directly out of your check. Which is, back in those days, there was no money there was no way for the government to just take the taxes out of your check.
Oh, they didn't have no ATM cards, or.
Well, I mean, like
oh
now,
yeah.
You can have it taken right out of your check. Versus then, now there are some people who, especially contractors and business owners, they do wait till the end of the year and they send a check, kind of like in the olden days. And so, I was explaining to the kids what your tax dollars pay for. And so some of them were like really kind of, well, I don't want my money paid for that. And I said, well, that's the debate that adults have. And I said, but, without tax, and they were like, well, why can't the government just pay for that? And I said, well, honey, taxes is how the government gets money.
Yeah, you are the government. Yeah.
Right. Without the taxes, the government is broke.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, not. Actually, I know that that's a hard pill to swallow, but we have to not despise taxes and more so get involved with having our wishes about what the taxes are spent on be brought to the forefront.
I agree wholeheartedly. And it's a lot of adults that really don't understand. And then there are a lot of adults that really, really do understand. I have friends that are libertarians.
Right.
And they really are serious. They don't want many of them, I should say. Like for example, in many places the government takes care of garbage pickup. They don't want no garbage pickup. Right. Take care of delivering mail. They don't want you to deliver no mail. It's just funny. They like, we don't need that. See, we don't need the U.S. mail. No, we don't need that. They are really for no government.
They're for small.
Well, my friends are for just about no government. Yeah.
And I know that a lot
of. Well, guess what they want? They want like drainage for the runoff. You know how your city may be in a like New Orleans, in a place that that's what they want government for, to corral nature.
Now, you know what? I think that this is my personal opinion that you have to toe a fine line. You do need, and this is my opinion, a strong government, but you don't need an overbearing government. I feel like that a lot of people take for granted the government does. Um, for example, you don't think about that in places like India there is no trash pickup, and so they have a significant amount of trash all
all
over the
over.
place. Uh, there's no EPA in a lot of places,
And
even though ours don't do that great of a job, but
who
it's
is
tearing their environment up. People are getting, sick from drinking water.
mm-hmm.
There's no water company in a lot of places that, and so we're over there with our little water cleansing buckets and digging wells, trying to, and without those things that we take for granted, we would be in the same boat that a lot of other countries are in.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, they have donkeys dying in the street, and people just pass by.
Well, it is. That is their everyday life, and I know people.
They go to a lake or stream to wash, and the donkey then died in the stream, and it's nobody to call.
No, there's nobody to call. I know that a lot of us have not really been, especially those of us with children, have not really been fully aware of the gravity of having this many charter schools and this many. It is the slow destruction of the public school system.
Yes.
And what you do not want as a society where there isn't a public school system.
I agree.
Because then you come to an issue where if the church or non-profit organization, really non-profit organizations, don't take over education, then all you have is private schools, and they get back to the point where people have to decide which of their children are going to go to school.
Which used to be the way. You sent one, the youngest one, to school, and the rest of them had to work. And what many people who are, against the charter school systems are saying is that some of these schools are based on a precept of something that has not been approved, and that is that they are sprouting up like this so that because they can get the government dollars. That's why they'll keep your child in school till after October, till that first influx of government dollars, and then they will put your child out, and you got to find another place for your child to go to school. At the same token, there are some that hold that they will be charging. The government will say, you know what? Well, this was a provisional. They never did get full sanction, and we're not paying for your child tuition who has gone there. And then you'll realize that for a semester you owed what you would have owed for a person to go to college.
Oh, definitely.
In elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
And they will be holding that against you. But look, hold on
It's
1
not
minute.
free.
It's not free.
It's not free. The vouchers will not always be there.
Correct.
Don't despise your public school system. Get involved to make it better.
And you said that most eloquently. Now, I made a statement earlier that I didn't realize that Zacchaeus was a tax collector. If you know where it's found in the Bible that Zacchaeus, the short guy, was a tax collector, please give us a call. Tell us where that scripture can be found. Give us a call at 225-343-1075.
Yeah, one of the things that was I guess people always talk about him being in the tree.
Yeah.
And about Jesus, deciding to come home with him, but people often, don't continue on the story where Zacchaeus goes on, to assert his innocence. Say,
What did he say?
I'm not this bad guy that everybody's making me out to be, and if
I'm just doing my job.
And if I have cheated anybody, I'll pay them back.
Oh, you don't hear nobody saying that today.
No.
Yeah, if you just got cheated, you just got cheated. Come on, Bible scholars. If you know the answer, because where it shows in the New Testament that Zacchaeus, and let me spell it out, Z A C C H E no Haeus. Zacchaeus. I'm a little dyslexic.
I'm glad you went with that because I would not have even kind of tried that attempted spelling.
Well, because they didn't call him that when I was a girl.
No, what they call it?
I can't remember, but it was somebody had butchered up this how to pronounce his name. There's a lot they butchered up when I was a girl. But anyway, when my son Lewis was a boy, he went to Bible camp somewhere, and he came back with this little song he would sing about Zacchaeus being a short man. And he loved it. He loved that song. He loved Bible camp. And so that's when I realized that, yep, Zacchaeus, that was the guy who was up in the tree.
Nothing wrong with being a short man.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as you're tall and square.
Maybe we don't have any Bible scholars that know where to find this in the New Testament.
Well, for those of y'all who are not Bible scholars, he does not have his own book.
Oh.
Clarify.
Oh, okay. You think people are
They may be
leafing through the Bible trying to find the book of Zacchaeus?
right.
No.
So let's clarify that.
It's a
There are 66, and Zacchaeus is not one of them.
and I gave the hint that it's in the New Testament.
Right.
But really, when you said Jesus came to his house, that was a pretty good indication as well.
Right.
You know what?
Actually, that's a really good indication because it's not the second half of the New Testament. It's the first half.
Right? Yeah, I'm giving hints now.
So you
I'm
only
pretty
got a
good.
couple of books to go through.
I'm pretty good with the hints. You know what?
You are.
Let me say that we do this, and thank you so much for doing this nursing home ministry. And
It's my life's work.
they love you so much
I love that.
over at Landmark. We did not get on the calendar for just the third, fourth, and fifth Sundays. So in the month of August, that's this month, we're still on the calendar for, I know that you can't go, for the first Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could see the precious look on Sister Faith's face. And let me tell you that Sister Faith is a licensed minister, right? Am I saying that right?
You are correct.
All right, so when...
You go up there Monday morning.
Oh, I talked with her. She is so sweet, the new. And she just said that she had already done it and put it out. And I told her that we had already let them know. And she was so thankful and saying thank you for, coming and giving of your time for this ministry. So I didn't bring that up to garner your wrath.
You said it by wrath.
Yeah, I didn't. But what I wanted to say, what was on my mind, was that Evangelist Alicia Garth, is always giving me Psalms 9. And I don't know what made me think of that, but she's always giving me Psalms 9 as it refers to pray for our air and being, taking care of God's earth and the environment, which is a battle, and she, the other night I was on the phone with her, and she was trying to, encourage me. And yes, I do need some encouragement some days. And the phone kept hanging up. It was just terribly hanging up. And I heard her say Psalms 9, but I couldn't hear, verses was that she was referring to. But in the King James Version, it says, I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. And I thought about the landmark praise, the ministry, the nursing home ministry. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. And I was like, oh, I really like that. Because that's exactly what we do with Pray for Our Air. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. And that's what you do on your little praise team. Y'all just dancing around and singing. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what they gonna do when God show up. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out thy name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destruction are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Oh, isn't that good?
That's wonderful.
Sing praises to the Lord, which dwell in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathen are shrunk down in a pile, in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. I like that. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord. Let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Shalom. I love it. Thank you, Evangelist Garth. That has been an inspiration,
I bet it has.
and it's powerful.
It is.
And I will be taking it as well, not only to the airways, but to the nursing home.
Right.
And let me say again, Sister Faith, you bring an inspiring, uplifting, motivating message to the old people.
Those are my peeps.
That's your peeps. And they just is smiling and ready for more. You give them a little homework to do that they can do within the walls of their particular, and I don't want to call them institutions, but I guess that is what it is, facilities, and I'm just very honored and proud to be a part of what God is doing there.
I really, really, really enjoy it, and it's a blessing to me. My little foolishness.
And let me say, as I have gone to other facilities, I want to remind the young ministers and young people of the church that do not forsake the soldiers, the old soldiers that have given of themselves all of their lives to God's work, and now they don't have the transportation, they can't go like they want to go, but they still are on fire for God. Don't leave them. Don't forsake them. Don't just assume that somebody gonna visit them. You know, there's one guy that I call a Struma Baptist.
Right.
Because when I first met him, he's an old guy now and he can't walk anymore. And I was telling him we were going to start, and that's been almost 2 years ago. We were going to start having services. And he said, I'm from a Struma Baptist. And every time he saw me, he said, my church is a Struma Baptist. I forgot his name. I started calling him a Struma Baptist. So I started asking people, do they come and see about him? Do they bring him communion? Do they, come and read Bible verses to them? Because let me tell you something. A lot of them they can't see well enough to read the scriptures. And they have, hidden them in their hearts. And even when you start with something like the Lord is my shepherd, they are so happy they just start saying it, with you. Or for those who may not speak out, loudly, they start mouthing the words. And that's another reason why I try to do all of the scriptures in the King James Version, because that's their Bible. And when you come with another version, they look kind of puzzled, like, am I getting Alzheimer's? Have I forgotten how that scripture goes? So I don't want to confuse them.
You know what? I don't. There is, and for those of my family members that are listening, that are balling out of control.
Balling.
There's a parallel Bible that I really want to get that is. No,
oh, that's right. You got a birthday coming up.
I do. It's a King James parallel to, not the New King James, the King James parallel with New Living Translation, and
NIV?
No, with the New Living Translation.
NLT.
And
that's the Bible that your pastor uses all the time. And I bought one of those one time. It got away from me. It reads like a novel.
The 7 o'clock service that I go to, they use King James and New King James, and then the 10 o'clock service they use NIV and NLT. Then when I speak, I occasionally use multiple translations. Although some people are really accustomed to the King James Version, depending upon what I'm reading and the point that I'm trying to get across, it depends upon the version that I would use. Because sometimes,
Well, I'm going to interrupt you 1 minute and say that I love to go to a church that has pew Bibles. Because whatever, you can have your own Bible and whatever you prefer to read in. And for the congregational reading, there's a pew Bible so that you can all read in unison, which is something I like.
You know what?
What?
No, that's a fib. I do that.
What?
I was about to say I don't do it. I when I no.
You are the one of the main ones. You got one of the main ones before.
It is long too.
Really?
I don't do
My
it there.
message will be coming from, and you know these old folk. You know, you know. First of all, it be long. You have the whole. You leave 3 verses out of the chapter. You and telling them, and then you read it.
You know what I was thinking about when I talk to them, and I don't do it because they don't have their Bibles with them.
Yeah.
I just read it to them.
Right.
But if I'm actually in a church, then yes, I do. And it's like
You do.
You know what? I've realized that like I and God bless everybody that does it in their own special way. And I realize that my scriptures is long.
Oh yeah.
It is long.
Listen, I interrupted you, right?
You?
I think I did.
I can't remember about what.
Okay, well, and now that was good.
Tell them what the scripture is.
Okay, should I just tell them, just
Yeah.
without any?
Yes.
Oh, all right. That means it's almost time for us to go, and you still have to do the announcements.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for those of you that were too shy to call in, the verse that tells that Zacchaeus was a tax collector is Luke 19, and in the let me see, which one is it? Let's see. He wasn't just a tax. You know what? This might have thrown us. Is chapter 19, verse 2. And that's probably why I didn't know. In the King James Version, it says, "And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich." Now, the NIV says in the 2nd chapter, "A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy." And that's why I didn't realize that a publican was a tax collector.
And as time goes on, we lose a lot of words. Like I rarely hear anybody say shifro.
Shifferobe.
And I have one.
You have a shifferobe?
Yeah.
You right. You don't hardly ever hear anybody say shifferobe.
Davenport.
What's a Davenport?
Shiffer.
Oh, no.
They're very similar. They're very similar. I can't describe to you the
But
exact,
people still say duvet, huh?
as in the furniture. Or
Yeah.
As in the blanket?
As in the furniture. I ain't know about a blanket.
Yeah.
The New Living Translation, one of your favorites, says, "There was a man named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich." So a publican is a tax collector. All right, now we know. I've learned something new on Let's Talk, and I will continue to learn things new. I'm hoping. I pray day by day.
That was Luke 19.
That was Luke 19, 2nd verse. All right. What are we? All right. We don't have to. We don't have any announcements. Wow. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? You guys are sending in the announcements because I know that it's a lot going on in the capital city in the middle of the summer. Kids go back to school on the 12th. Some little boy told me.
Yeah, the kids are getting ready. I have a friend that has 2 girls in high school. They were talking about their shopping, their school shopping for their clothes. So
Oh my.
we need to get what is it they would release the places where you can go with clothing, school clothes,
Oh.
uniforms.
I think if you haven't done it, well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll do a little research.
Places that don't. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I knew you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. when I was out going door to door in this, community of apartments, I saw their postings, and they were mostly, for June and July. Yeah. Let me just add to, before we leave the air, that the high today is supposed to be 95. It'll be partly cloudy, according to WeatherBug. And along with that, on Sunday, tomorrow, the high is also 95. So we want you to hydrate. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. I used to say liquids. I'm leaving that and saying drink plenty of water. On Monday, there's a chance of rain, 30% chance of rain. So I know the grass will be happy about that. It's also a chance of thunder and lightning with a high of 94. So you've got a sunny day on tomorrow for church. And on Monday, for those people who have Monday night Bible class, just make sure you take your umbrella. You've been listening to Let's Talk. We've had a wonderful time with you. As I understand it, they will be moving our time. So not only will we have moved on the dial, but we will also be moving to the 9:30 hour. We'll keep you posted as to when that'll happen. Until next time, this is your host Stephanie Anthony and the crew saying, make every conversation be useful. Until next time, let's talk.